Welcome to episode 20 of No Idea Yet. I didn't just nearly forget the title of our podcast. I mean, I forgot the intro last week, I think, so the title might be the next one again. Welcome, yes. We are here this week with Freddie and Johnny. And this week, they will be just finding out live on the episode, we will be discussing dancing.
Oh,
Slightly left of field. I think they saw that one coming somehow.
I seem to remember you didn't like dancing because you said it wasn't a sport.
Whoa, I mean, I don't dislike dancing by any means. I'm not very good at dancing, but I definitely don't dislike it.
Oh, so not that you dislike it, that you didn't say that breakdancing is not a sport.
That's right. I thought that breakdancing wasn't a sport. That was throwback to episode 6, actually, believe it or not. But yeah, which probably says well to anyone who's new to the podcast. So how this works, we basically this is the first half in which we discuss a new topic that we don't necessarily know much about, and then we go away for a week and then discuss, research it, and then come back, and you get that all in one nice package in this episode. So yeah, so we'll start off a little bit of the. Oh, actually, go over to Johnny for your pre researching it definition, and then we'll come back to you next week for your full definition corner. How do you define dancing? That's kind of.
I guess it would be because you don't necessarily need music to it, so it's not moving to music.
Always being
but I
very
guess
liberal.
it would be moving to a rhythm, be it internal or whatever. Or is it just flailing your arms? Are you just flailing around for no good reason? It's not for movement. It's not getting anywhere to be.
Okay, I got a
Do
question
you have
for
to
you.
move? Do you reckon you have to move? Yeah.
Well, you can use your eyes to dance. I mean, how would you know you're dancing? You're just sitting still and being like, oh, you're dancing really well right now. Thanks, I'm glad you noticed.
Okay, what about the other option, like a baby that's just like on the floor, basically wriggling, doing its thing, and you're like, that baby's dancing. It's like, but it's silent. It's just pure silence. The baby's just like, is that dancing?
Oh yeah.
But I guess actually no, it probably is to. I'd say it probably is like, usually to music it is, dancing is moving your body to a rhythm, which isn't for any other purpose than either enjoyment or show.
Oh, okay, fair. Maybe it's the purpose.
Enjoyment or show? That's the yeah.
Because I guess you enjoy it because you want to move to music or because you want to show off how good you are at dancing. Also, mate attraction. I mean, look at animals. They dance. Birds.
I have heard this is topical, but interesting. Quite double, but interesting is the fact that blind people who have never been sighted still put their hands up in celebration when they win something.
So when no one's ever seen that blind person, they still... Is it like when the tree falls?
No, the blind person's never seen other people do it, but they still
no one's seen this blind person, but somehow we know they put their hands up.
Or you leave a camera in the room with a blind person.
He was born in the woods, managed to survive his whole life.
Is innate and there's purpose behind things, like behind our movements. So I'm wondering if it ties in with dancing. Is that like if we all naturally do movements for kind of like a pleasure or celebratory, and that like dancing is
it's interesting when you obviously people dance infinitely more when they're drunk, right? When inhibitions have been lowered. So maybe it is just like it's more of a natural thing that you can do once you
But isn't that our culture, like our English culture of being English?
Because that's alcohol. Being drunk is culture dependent. Because which I think is mad. I read a book called Heretics about belief and stuff, and one thing was being drunk is culture dependent. So in the UK we consider it as lower inhibitions, usually aggressive, rowdy, and telling the truth more. Whereas in other countries it's you're more drowsy, maybe a bit more mellow, a bit more happy, and maybe a bit silly. But so dependent on what country you go to, it's kind of this kind of social culture which is constructed about when you drink of what you do when you're drunk, kind of thing. Because I guess at the very least you're slightly poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
side to that, I guess.
But yeah. So that's not. It could be related, but no. I guess that's not related to this show. But I guess we could look up something about.
No, but I mean, right. So coffee, for example, in some cultures is for relaxing. People they drink coffee like in Turkey. You have a coffee to relax, or like the end of a meal. It's not like I need to get some work done. I better smash like 600 milligrams of caffeine in my eyes.
But yeah, so it's kind of like, you've just had a nice meal, you're going to have a coffee to relax in the sun by, read a book.
It's a different...
Yeah, so it's a nice warm
same
drink.
drug, different style.
Yeah, which is...
Interesting.
We don't dance to coffee.
Dancing. They have a little bit on the significance of it to you guys, how important is it to you? I know, Freddie, you don't have dabbled in a little bit of the old the
Yeah.
salsa and things in your past.
Yeah.
But, and like, so Freddie, so do you want to touch on that quickly? Just sort of your
Yeah,
experience with that.
this is actually kind of looking forward to this. Well, I mean, I always am, but like, yeah, dancing has meant a lot to me recently because, well, first of all, I was definitely very nervous earlier on when I was younger about dancing, and I still am now, to be honest. Like, dancing in front of people is kind of terrifying, and that's definitely a cultural, like, a way you've grown up and stuff. Like, singing too, I guess that ties in with dancing and singing, right? And then I met some people, and they said, "Oh, we go to this salsa class," and I'd never ever gone before to any sort of like dance class thing, and I just had a free Tuesday, so I was like, "Sure," and I started turning up, and at first terrifying, absolutely like
So you
terrifying.
said recently, this is your first year of university, right? So this is like 7 years ago or something, recently, or just like...
This was not my first year of university. This was actually my internship year, so my
sorry,
fourth.
Fourth year.
Fourth,
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Very recent then. Very, very good.
Still, yeah.
Still fresh in the memory.
Ages away.
No, but you wouldn't necessarily know that. But yes, it was first of all very, very terrifying. Getting used to it, and I was like, okay, cool. And within the class, it's just like a kind of fun class thing you do. And then this is where the mind blowing part comes to me anyway, is that you go out to a party with salsa and bachata and Latin music, and people are just dancing, and they invite you to dance with them, and you dance with people, and that's totally fine. And it's like strangers are coming up to you and saying, "Let's dance." And I'd never ever been in that situation before, and I suddenly knew what to do, which is a big tick, right? Oh, this is what you do. This is the how do you say that? Kind of like, you know, the rules almost. Like, so I could join in, and it was the most liberating thing I think I'd ever done by that point in my life. It was just like, I'm with strangers dancing. It's something I'd never done before, and it was great fun. And so I carried that forward and continued lessons because it was a part of my life I never knew I would enjoy. Still don't really enjoy dancing in clubs unless I'm hammered, though, because I don't know what to do. But if a Latin song comes on, you can bet your ass I will be grabbing the first person and starting salsa.
Well, is that such a good point of you saying, like, you know, because you listen to music and you don't just want to sit down to music. I guess that's the thing is quite innate, that I think of like, well, I'm going to make it's a bit of a bold statement, but the idea you want to do something to it. But again, as you're saying, like, sometimes you don't know what to do. So having a constructed, regulated dance is a thing, like, I can enjoy this music with other people and I don't have to be afraid of maybe not doing it right. Although I definitely do think, you know, everyone can dance, just someone more aesthetically pleasing to watch than others, you know, at the end of the day.
But
Well, who are you dancing for in that case, I guess, is the question there.
yeah, because I just went for fun, and then I got used to it, and then I entered competitions actually in the end, like, of that year, and we did well.
Bachata as well, which is proper, like,
It was very
saucy
sexy.
dancing.
Yeah,
It's
but
as
it's
saucy as you can get without being wet.
it is like, I mean, in the same sense of producing your own art. If you give like a kid a pen and they make a painting and it looks like trash, but whatever, they're having a good time, that's sick. That also relates to dancing, right? You start dancing when you're a kid and you're just having fun. Then you get some structure, maybe because you practice or you have lessons, and it starts to look more like, well, structured, like you've come up with it. But it doesn't, it then breeds more creativity later on if you have the basis first, right? Whereas
So
a lot of
there
us
is a fair bit of creativity when you're doing the salsa stuff, right? You can do.
you can come up with your own moves.
You go with your partner, and they sort of lead. You know, one person leads. Like I said, I really don't know much about it, so that's kind of why.
So usually there's a set amount of, like, regular moves and stuff and steps, and then you so, like, if you think you've got loads of numbers, and then everyone knows all the numbers, but then you can decide to put those numbers in whatever order. So you usually be like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes like, actually, no, I'm gonna go 1, 4, 8, 2, and suddenly what looks like usually when you start to learn, it'll be a really regular back, forwards. Now we'll do a spin, back, forwards. Now do another spin, back, forwards. But then when two people know it really well, it's like there's no back and forwards. You may see like one of those. Everything else is just dancing around, and all the numbers.
You made me think about this now. Like, I'm guessing actually the definition of what makes a dance generally, and this is from my knowledge, are the steps, and then the rest you can do what you want. So let me explain that. A waltz, for example, is like steps. Those are left, right, left, right. No, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, and and it has that, and that's what makes it the waltz. Yes, obviously the music, but that comes hand in hand. So a salsa is you step on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has like, it's like kind of like almost a 7/8 rhythm. And those are the steps that make it a salsa and not something else. And then the stuff you do on top of that with your hands and spinning your partner and coming apart and coming together, that's you come up with that. You can just take inspiration from other stuff. So I could salsa to a rock song. You wouldn't really, but you could do it because you just do those steps to that song.
Just make sure you do it in time.
Yeah, you just have to stay in time. And I mean, that's the thing that's it's all about, right?
So hear me out. What do you think for like? So if I'm thinking of like, because obviously like it's self-expression. So like art, dancing, singing is all self-expression. Everyone can do it. Everyone can enjoy it. But then some people will look or sound better than others. But it's not actually relevant to the enjoyment is. But do you think like singing is like your auditory self-expression that somebody hears? Like art is the visual that you see, and then I guess dance could say it's both visual and also physical as well. It's how you self-express, but with your movement of your body. One is that you're leaving, a pattern on something, so it's in that sense. Another one is you're using your voice, and the other one is actually using your whole body.
The art. So yeah, no, I think
Well,
Also, I've written down, do we all dance when drunk? Because I like to believe that I think every culture when drunk is a bit more partial to dancing. But I don't know. I want to find that out.
okay, so I've got just to round off your definition though. So you said you can dance without music, which is true, but how often does that really happen?
Yeah, I think that's only because first you heard the music and you danced, and then separately to it you probably, because I was thinking like you can dance on your own, but you're probably dancing to music in your head, or do you like?
Yeah, once I was really happy, they might do like a very quick little movement that shows they're really happy. But is that, I don't know if that's a full. I said that's when you
Doing the happy dance.
Is that an expression?
A little, yeah, it's more of an expression. But okay, so another thing I wanted to get into, see what you guys thought. How about dancing as a career and like actually seeing a career as a dancer, or just like sort of making money as a dancer, right? It's quite a difficult thing to do. I think it's obviously very well known to be very difficult and competitive. I'm sure.
I think that's where
like a backing
you lose
dancer.
some enjoyment.
Is that
backing dancer? So something I learned, I was same with like X Factor or the backing singers and actors. Usually they're unpaid people who are just like, and it's like, so that is like a multi-million pound like entertainment show, and like same with Britain's Got Talent. And I was hearing this from my sister-in-law saying like she's known people who do that, and they'll be like professional dancers, and they do it all for free because you can put it on your CV. So it's kind of like doing like that intern thing where you kind of use and abuse people who are willing.
Same as if you're an up-and-coming actor. I think again, it's just there's so many people trying to do that one thing.
Well, the upcoming actor extras get paid a decent amount. A lot
of
like,
sort of like 50-50 between like paid work and just work for their showreel, as it were. So yeah.
Shall I tell you how salsa and bachata dancers make money?
Please do.
Because obviously, when you start going to
win
classes,
competitions at university.
Yeah, no, I came second. When you start something, and it could be any sort of class, and there's people who just dip in and out, and then there are some people, and it's their life. Like it's like they're into it, and there is a whole life to dancing that I didn't know about, obviously. And the salsa bachata way is, a lot of it is obviously Latin American peoples being friendies.
I have one quick question. When you're saying Latin and not bruschetta, surely that's the food thing, right? Am I being...
What?
You said Latin and it sounded like Latin and bruschetta.
Latin American.
Did you? What's the dance you did?
Okay,
bachata. Did you think bruschetta and bachata because they sound similar?
I guess bruschetta.
I'm sure he said
really saucy dancing or a type of bread.
Put the sauce on the bread.
Is that what you do? When you get the,
well, another dance is called merengue, and that sounds a lot like meringue.
Oh yeah, so you got your pudding.
Merengue is a great dance because that's I think it's a 10-step thing. So it's really just kind of shuffling, and then you just do some little you just throw people around, just do little spins. So it's like the easiest and nicest form of dancing. I think it's from the Caribbean originally, and it's like doing a bit of that. It's just fun because it's like that's definitely where like I did it. Me and Abby did some like couples dancing, and it was like the jive, the waltz, bit of merengue, yeah. But like that was the most fun because it was the least like structured. A lot of them they'll be like, all right, you need to learn the steps, and then you learn the extras, the spins and stuff like this, and then when you get good enough, you put them all together, and both of you will know exactly what you're doing, and you can make this nice dance. We did not get advanced at all. It was very basic what we did. Still did it for like a couple of months, but yeah, the merengue was definitely like a really freeing kind of chill. Just enjoy the music, do a few little spins and whatever, and don't worry about it.
That's cool. So I was a little host. I was going to go back to Freddie on your point of how else do people make their money dancing.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
Before I interrupted about bruschetta and meringues.
That's all right.
It's all good.
How, if you're interested in how salsa and bachata people make their money, that I know about, is that, I joined the classes and then people are like, okay, I think the classes end on a Tuesday, that's it. And they're like, oh, well, do you want to come to the dance parties on the weekend where we go and have parties? Okay, fair enough. Oh, do you want to come to these special event things? Can't remember what you call them really. And basically, couples, not necessarily couples as in romantic, but dance couples, they become famous in modern age, I guess, by putting videos and stuff on the internet. And you go and they will give you a class, like a one-off class. You'll pay like a lot of money to have this one-off class. And then at the end, they will perform a special routine that they've invented. And they get quite, like, it's quite important that, like, they are the ones that created this routine. And everyone stands around them in a circle and films it. And, like, that's just how you do it. You go on Instagram, if you type in like salsa videos, you'll see people doing cool dances and like about 50 people around them, all with their phones videoing it. And then people watch those videos so that they can learn those moves that they've seen created. And like you pay good money to go to these special kind of one-off classes, and you get super famous people charging crap tons for it. And and it's just because people enjoy it and they want to learn from these people. So I have met this couple called Danielle and Desiree, and I went to one of their classes, but I was super drunk at the time because it was like during. I should not have gone to that class, but I paid for it, so I turned up anyway. It was really good. Like,
that's cool. Yeah.
So that's how I know they make money. But yeah, backing dancers, I had no idea they didn't get paid, and I guess like like in English films, I guess you don't really have dancing much, but maybe if it's like Bollywood or Georgian films. They have lots of
jumping around. I think we did. Jumping around with the Georgian dancing is a big.
Well, that's kind of American. I'm thinking like maybe we guess you have American hip hop kind of dances.
I was just thinking of what dancing films are now of.
Yeah. What? Never Back Down.
Step Up to the Streets.
Is it like Step Up 7 at the moment? It's stupid like
I don't even know.
Step Up 7 the streets of the yeah. But sorry, to go back to the thing about significance of dancing to us. Johnny, I wanted to ask you, you're obviously the first dancer at a wedding, right? It's quite a big deal. So do you?
Oh yeah, I remember
was that a big
this.
thing for you, or was obviously I mean Freddie was?
Yeah, ask him how much he prepared for this first dance.
Absolutely zero.
Did you?
It's only after we
Did
got
you know what song it was, or did you?
Yeah, it was Elvis Presley. It was. God, I think of it in my head now.
Little less conversation.
Not that.
The one from
it's a nice
Forrest
one.
Gump when he's like shaking his leg. The one he got from Forrest Gump when he says,
It's about rivers running into the sea.
I'm not helping you, mate.
I'll remember it later. It's fine. No, but I think we just kind of did the usual kind of like shuffle, and then I spin around a little bit and whatever.
Yeah, but how did you know what you were going to do? When did you practice?
I did not practice at all.
You did. There was one time.
Oh wait, did we dance with you, Freddie?
Yeah, I think it was you, me, and your mum were in your living room, and you're like, "Oh crap, I need to learn how to do a first dance."
Totally, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that. Totally, yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, I completely forgot. Yeah, because that was after Tanzania as well, wasn't it? Yeah, so then you came around, you were painting stuff as well, and then you just lived in my house for a while.
Yeah, I didn't have anything else to do.
My mum was absolutely buzzing about it, I think.
Good. I'm great.
That's really fun. Well, no, that's
yeah,
really
sorry about that. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, thanks for that little memory. That was nice.
That's really
do you mean Blue River?
No.
Elvis Presley. Okay.
Well, that is your homework for next week. Do you want to look up
Yeah,
what
that's
the song was?
definitely his homework.
Andy might agree.
Other dance I dislike. I mean, that was interesting. That's a good point about like the dance at the first wedding when people are looking. It's just like, yeah, like special dances. Like maybe we don't have them, but maybe other cultures have. Like, I mean, what about like a funeral march? Is that a dance? No, that's more like a thing that you do.
Just like do.
Well, no, because I was thinking of the meme with those
coffin dance.
The coffin dance. That's a thing that they do. They dance for that certain occasion.
Can't Help Falling in Love with You was the song by Elvis Presley.
Aww. That's fair.
Yeah, we really did not have a song. The only other song we actually have was really Everything by Michael Bublé, because when we first got together, we both really liked Michael Bublé. But like that's too too used for a wedding song as a first dance. We're like, no, that's too cliche. We've got to find something else that we just kind of like, yeah, this song sounds nice. The song we wanted was too cliche. We're like, no, I can't do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, no, we did actually both
Thinking
like
Out
that song.
Loud must be one of the biggest ones, right?
Oh, also
No.
like one of Ed Sheeran's albums, and I was like, oh my days, there was like 5 songs in it. I'm like, 3 of those are weddings, 2 of those are funerals, and like you're just cashing in for life. Yeah.
Good.
Hey,
But yeah,
man,
no,
don't
the song-
that's how you make the money. That's where the money's at.
Yeah. Christmas songs as well. Michael Bublé,
mate,
he must make a killing every. Same with Whatchamaflip. What's she called?
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey. Like, she didn't even do songs anymore apart from just
Even like Slade,
absolutely hammers it.
yeah, they make millions every Christmas. Like, yeah, the people who really look forward to Christmas, yeah, because obviously you got it for life. You never have to worry about that.
Yeah,
so,
but yeah, no.
but obviously there aren't really that many new. There aren't that many new ones. It's always they're all quite. It's just like the
Remixes.
classics
Yeah.
now, right? And then they're the classics, and there's no new ones. But yeah. Anyway, so for next week, I'm going to give you some. Well, you don't normally do this, but I'm going to give you some very specific homework for the week. So I'll give you one type of dancing each. You pick if you want. So between ballet and tap, I thought we'd just two that I'm assuming you don't necessarily know much about, maybe. So Freddie, which do you know less about?
I mean, I've watched Black Swan.
Tap's all on you then. I mean,
So I guess I'll take tap. I mean, I'm actually super interested. I have no idea about
go for it.
tap
Do
other
tap.
than they wear shoes with metal bits on them.
I think that's in the old films. They were quite good. Like the Singing in the Rain and stuff. They do some really cool.
Oh my
stuff.
god, that's like an amazing
so, yeah.
scene, isn't it? With that guy
Yeah,
who
when
does
he-
like
yeah.
a full-on thing and then passes out the
It's
end.
really cool.
Yeah.
It's great. So Johnny, are you happy to research ballet for next week?
Yeah,
That's just
definitely.
like
I've
the
always
main
wanted
thing,
to do
obviously.
ballet.
Yeah, there you go, Billy Elliot and wives and everything.
I'd
But yeah,
still
so
do it
have a
now.
look at those two for next week, each of you, and then obviously we'll kind of go. Obviously, the stuff we've touched on this episode. Anything more that you want to like? So a new definition of course. Freddie.
Oh yeah. So there was one other thing I wanted to mention. Something very topical, I guess. Yes, yeah, definitely topical, and ties into this perfectly. Is TikTok.
Yes, yeah, that's a great show. We'll look into this.
Ooh,
I
ooh.
mean, you guys got. I actually don't have it, but I saw your brother's video, man. That was really cool. He got like 400,000 views, right, of that one with his baby with the passport. It's actually really funny.
Oh yeah, funny one. Yeah, maybe 40,000. I don't know if it's can't have been opposite that much. I don't know. That just reminded me of. Do you like? I don't know if this is actually real, but you know, like the 70s discos of like everyone does the same. I know like the montages and films look incredible. Everyone's doing the same dance and it's all on the dance floor and it's all like almost rehearsed. But do you like TikTok? That's definitely a thing of where like, you know, you don't know, as you saying, Freddie, like you don't know how to dance in front of people, and so you learn a specific dance. And TikTok was definitely that of where people have learnt to do a particular dance, one part to show off, one it's a little challenge, and it's I guess it's that, you know, I guess dancing in a way, especially like that, is you know about being part of a group, isn't it?
Yeah, and enjoying it. Because I mean, all I knew about it was from my students, because they like show me their TikTok videos in class about like the little dances that they've learned, which was kind of really cute, to be honest. Like it was cool, even though I was both like not sure how I felt about the girls listening to, all the boys, to be honest, listening to like really not good lyrics about like sex and drugs, and then showing their cool dances. And I'm like, I mean, fair enough. I guess you're not really listening to it, and you're all speaking Spanish. They don't know what they're saying. But then, like at the other hand, they're enjoying like something where they're learning something. They're playing with their friends. They're moving and they're being confident and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think one big thing we have Mash said, but I think obviously it kind of goes without saying almost, but how positive dancing really is, like how much, you know, how it's very much an expression of joy, right, an expression of happiness. So I think that's a really nice thing to do.
You don't dance when you're sad. Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Apart from the funeral marches, apparently. We're gonna be,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's I guess celebrating someone's life. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I
is,
mean,
it
I
is,
think it's a nice the idea of to have a funeral as a celebration of someone's life rather than a mourning of the death. But I think it's really hard to not to cut out that one side of emotion. I guess usually you get.
Someone might judge you a little bit if you were like really going for it at a funeral, like having the best time. Look at you having the best
so
time.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
really happy about it though that he's dead. No, just that he was alive ever.
Oh, it's like
Serious.
that's positive. I guess we're all
Good
crying,
segment.
but that's positive.
But you're really happy right now. It's kind of really weird.
You do have to have some confidence to dance. You just do. It's like you can't have zero confidence and dance in front of anyone else, I guess. And like also it does show some level of kind of fitness because you can move and stuff. And what I'm getting at is that like when you see someone and you're like, oh yeah, they look alright, but then you see them dance and they dance well, you're like, damn, that's awesome.
Quick before we end, have you ever done dancing?
I say
as in like
not in any proper sense. I do remember lamenting that when we were in that salsa bar with Freddie in Spain a few years ago. I do remember thinking, man, I really wish I'd spent a bit more time. But it's on my list of things to do in my it's something that I want to get better at before I'm sort of I've got this idea of things I'm going to do before I'm 30. I'm going to be a much better chef and a much better dancer than I am now.
Cool.
It's one of the two things that
they go together. Kind of. No, you're not.
Husband skills.
With boiling oil.
Thank you guys very much for listening to this first half on dancing, where we will go away for a week, research it, come back, and tell you something that you may or may not already know. So yeah, thank you, and we'll see you after this short break. Welcome back to part 2 of our episode on dancing. With me, still, funnily enough, is Johnny and Freddie, and we're going to find out what we have maybe learnt about various kinds of dancing and just its place in our lives and the world and large. Sounds good. So, Jonathan, what did you find out about? I want to say ballet.
Come on now, jumping the gun now. We've got to go straight to the juicy stuff.
Definition time. It's definition corner. Johnny literally waits all week for this, and then
It's the first thing I look up. It's the first
clocks
thing I
out afterwards.
Definition: to move rhythmically to music, typically following a sequence of steps or a series of steps and movements that match the speed and rhythm of a piece of music. So I initially said, is it just movement rhythmically and not to music? But no, it's definitely music. You need the music. You can dance without music, but it's only because you once had music. So yeah,
that's
definitely
it does seem like quite an integral part, I think. Yeah. Freddie, anything else?
Go
on, sorry.
I'll just quickly say, I said something about looking up, does everyone dance when they're drunk? And there was a big article, I was like, it's a bit about related to like dancing and drinking. I read the whole article, it was about 10 minutes, I was reading out, writing stuff down, I was like, and literally the very last sentence was, you'll never guess what day it is, April Fool, from 2016. And I'm like, I just
wait, what? You get April fooled by something from 2016?
No, what? I was like, why is it even why is it still there? It was so convincing.
What, was it full on like the spaghettis that grow on trees thing that they did for the news?
Yeah.
Or that penguins can fly.
Yeah, and why didn't they just take it down? And now I was like, now I'm none the wiser between alcohol and dancing.
What was it saying? It was alcohol in...
It was saying that at a certain level of intoxication related to your body mass and how much alcohol you drink, you'll have a thing of where the alcohol goes through the blood-brain barrier, and that your brain has a certain point of like effectively confidence to hand coordination. Is that like a nice like sweet spot, and you get better at dancing effectively.
Everyone knows coordination goes way up when you drink, of course. That's why drinking and driving is so actively encouraged.
But that's what I say. The bit was convincing because it was saying like, no, it's when you're tipsy effectively. And I was like, and it was not tried to condone either way. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. It was all.
That is really believable, though. To be fair, I mean, people say like having a pint helps you steady your hand at darts or something, right? Like,
and they said like it was a study of 318 people, and as not to promote alcoholism, they made sure no one's previous addict. It was over 3 years, but it was only bi-monthly they did it, and it was of certain variance amounts, and there's control groups, and it was like they did it in a way that sounded.
They got you good.
Like they got me good, and I was so on board. It's like, yeah, no, cool.
Making notes.
I totally made notes, and then I was like, right, I'll just rub all this out. That's fine. I'll delete that. That's right. And then I wasted a good 10 minutes researching something that turned out to be April Fool, and I'm none the wiser anything between alcohol and dancing.
I saw a lesson in terms of the importance of fact checking your work, which obviously we do religiously on this podcast.
I mean, this fact checking was reading the end of the article, I guess.
Yeah, if you didn't even get
swayed by that though.
Yeah,
it was a long article.
That'd be really funny.
Yeah, if you just read a bit and you just was like, oh yeah, fair, cool, or you could just forward it to people and just tell them that it's the truth and assume they won't read the end. That's wild.
Yeah, like the Onion.
Just Photoshop the end of it, and then that's it.
Yeah, you could just copy and paste bits. You could quote it. No one ever checks where you quote stuff from, really, do they?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. No.
I doubt lecturers even did, so people who listen to a podcast on a whim would be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. But yeah, But yeah, no, so in terms of like, did you guys touch on the history particularly, or did you go more into the sort of
Yes.
present side? Okay, well,
Yes, I
I
did.
think Freddie's got his eyes are lighting up with a
Wild.
look of wanting to talk about something.
Yes. So just like to add on Johnny's part was like that it's a performing art form. It's categorized by choreography, historical period, place of origin. Because like, I mean, what defines what a dance is? Like, why is a salsa different from a jive or something? Right? It's those parts, and then its functions are social, ceremonial, competitive, competitiveness, erotic, martial, as in martial arts, I guess.
No, as in like military
and sacred. Yeah, right.
Oh wait, no, like martial law, but maybe
Martial law is. Hang on.
What's the
Okay.
last one? Sorry?
Anyway. Oh, and sacred. Like you can have a sacred dance, and there is evidence of dance from over 9,000 years ago, but probably before. There's dance could have been an important part of passing stories down, which is really cool. It's basically as native as human speech, like the concept of dancing, because it's evolved in every
barrier to
way,
entry
in every
is
society.
that there isn't one, right? You know,
Yeah, you have to move.
you have to be able to move. That's you know. Yeah. It's like, you can't speak unless you've got a tongue, so you know. But no, I think
I got the link into this. So I tried looking up Marshall and I came up with Anthony Marshall, French footballer. So I don't know. Yeah, so I looked up could animals dance, because they're like, oh, do animals do it? And I think originally we thought, oh, it's unique to humans. And then there's a
Birds, come on.
there's a cockatoo called Snowball, and he was dancing to some Beastie Boys song, and then like it's like, look, clearly he's dancing to the music. And then someone's like, well, you can say that, but we actually have to see whether that makes sense. Maybe it's just copying the person. Like there's been, I was chatting to you about do you know, is it Coco the gorilla, and like how
the sign language
it depends how much is anthropomorphism and mimicking, which is just really complex mimicking, but not actually conscious thought, if you know what I mean. Like
the horse that could count.
The horse could count, and it was actually because the guy was giving unconscious messages to the horse that he didn't know he was doing, but it wasn't until he put something in front of him that they realised. And he didn't know he was doing it either. But yeah, start with Snowball. And so researchers, right, we'll see if this cockatoo actually dances. So they had the same song, then they adjusted the tempo. So it got faster and slower. And cockatoo, on the beat, was dancing, bopping his head, lifting his feet, and it always was rhythmic to the actual beat. So therefore, it seems like it's responding to rhythm. And then loads of other videos came in, like, look at these other animals, because like maybe just Snowball's unique. And loads of different things, but 15 other species, 14 are parrots, and 1 is elephants. So elephants apparently, and
so
the link may be
to music, right? It's all like getting them to do it to music, right?
Yeah, to music. So it's them following a beat.
Yeah, he's saying that. Yeah, that's what is integral to dancing. Obviously, in the animal world, it's slightly harder to come by, I think, than.
Well, that's it. And like the thing, like, well, maybe it's just because just introducing music to animals, but like dogs and horses don't do it, so it's not that. And apparently they link it to it may be, obviously this is all like speculation, like we think they're dancing, and we've done research and it seems like they're dancing to music, but the link may be vocal learning. So both parrots, elephants and us modulate their voice for communication, and that's how they learn as well. So maybe that's the link of why they're able to dance, is because they're able to pick up on rhythms and modulations in tone, and that's what they're trying to listen and learn, whereas other species just don't do that. Like there's a book I was reading about dogs, and there's a German guy. It's a theory called My Bubble, and effectively like a dog may see or smell a rose and it has no interest. It may as well be grey to it or blacked out, because like no, they're looking for something else. Whereas for us, a rose is like, oh, it's so pretty and like smells so nice. Whereas for a dog, like, don't care about what it looks like or what it smells like, because it's not what I'm focusing on. So like the noise to an animal, we think, wow, how can you not hear the music? Like someone may like metal and someone may like classical, and it's because it doesn't even register as something important. There you go.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, just to go off on the tiniest tangents. Like, because a lot of that was about visual, like, we're visual creatures, and we're saying, oh, like, how could you not care about this? Or a bit like audible creatures, like, oh, how could you not care about sound and lyrics? I'm just thinking, like, trying to compare, like, a dog's idea of a rose to maybe, like, my taste of that bit of floor. Like, I'm just like, I have
that bit of floor versus that bit of floor, mate. What do you think the difference in the taste is? Yeah.
But I've seen my dog lick the floor. I've seen him, and you're like, what are you doing, mate? Is there really anything worth there licking that bit of floor? But I have no interest. To me, that floor might as well have no taste. I mean, it probably does, and I don't want to find out what it is. But
So, the history, Freddie, as well. You lit up a bit when we mentioned history before of dance.
oh, that was mainly. Okay, well, my history really was of the general dancing concept was focused only on like ancient practices in like China. They found like carvings on vases and stuff that pretty much look like dancing, and other carvings on the walls and paintings that look like it. It's hard to put, again, anything that you recorded history is pretty difficult. Even going back like a couple hundred years, when you're reading stuff that people have written, you've got to guess what they mean by what they're writing. So when you go back 9,000 and you're like, that drawing is of a stick man dancing, you're just guessing, right? You're just guessing. So it's difficult. But yeah, that was just it. Like it's an incredibly ancient thing. And then the rest of that was I went into tap dancing, right? And so I went into the history of tap dancing.
I love a tiny tangent about the history stuff. I remember seeing it was a documentary, and it was like this. It was this tribe somewhere in the rainforest, and it was. Do you know when we think of singing or music, we're thinking like even like primitively, you think like drums, you think of whatever, like maybe chanting, stuff like that, kind of more guttural. But this tribe, what they did is they'd just be whistling and making bird calls. So that was their like music, and then like as they were just walking through the forest, they're just kind of messing around. They're just making these like whooping calls and all bird related. So their music is based off what they hear in the rainforest, and then they're just altering it to their own tastes. Obviously, it sounded just like bird call to me, but do you know that thing of how it's? I guess music is like art is subjective. It's quite cool that thought of being they're copying their music, and therefore probably what they dance to is similar to what they hear in the rainforest. And also, cool thought if you listen to the rainforest and it sounds like music to you, that'd be great.
That is sick.
I've just got sick techno in the jungle.
I did do a little experiment.
Oh yeah.
By myself, just because I had a little brain thought about the episode, because I was just like, right, so dancing to music is like that's the thing, right? You dance to music, and I was like, but like, what is it about music that makes you dance, or can you dance to music in your head? And I was like trying to dance with no music, and I was like, this was actually not so bad. So then later on, I was listening to my kind of chill playlist when I was sat on a plane, and it's composed of a lot of piano covers, right? And I suddenly came to my head like, I don't know if I could dance to this, you know? Even though these are piano covers sometimes of club music, like I'm not going to lie, I enjoy piano covers, right? And sometimes there's like a piano cover that's of, God knows what, I don't know, like a Shakira song, but it sounds sick. Yeah, and then I was trying to imagine myself dancing to just piano cover, and it's really hard. Like how to move? I'm sure someone else can do it, but trying to move to just someone jamming on a piano is kind of weird and difficult.
That's what people only used to do, though, isn't it?
What? Piano's not the first instrument.
No, but I mean, like, balls. I'm thinking like, not that long ago. Do you like
piano?
ball? Do you like ballrooms and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like your main thing would be like getting.
I guess so, like a waltz.
Play music.
Yeah, like a simple
slow dancing.
As if it's got more rhythm. Yeah. Anyway, that was just a slight tangent. I went off. The rest was all on tap dancing.
Lovely. Well, I mean,
we'd like to hear.
Yes, I would.
Excellent, because you're gonna. Oh man, I've got so much to talk about. I'm so sorry. So, here we go. Generally, like the concept of tap dancing is having metal or leather or even nothing on the bottom of your shoes and tapping with it. It's got roots from minstrel shows, and then
slapping
moves into like French theatre. This is the thing, right? So it's got like lots of kind of family. It's like in a family of dance, which includes Scottish step, Giobu, Juba dance, English clog dancing, Irish jigs. Like it's kind of a Western dance in that sense, but then it was like adopted into American culture fantastically. But there was a 2-coloured rule that stopped black people from performing solo, and so lots of dances were dancing and piano acts of 2 people, and this is where it kind of switched from being just like kind of a minstrelly dancing in a circus idea where we've got a big smiley face on, to being classy, cool, with people dressed in like immaculate clothing and doing insane choreographed dances. So Bill Bojangles Robinson, who was basically the most famous most famous and highly paid black American entertainer in America of the 20th century, pretty much. And he performed insane dances that I watched a few videos of, and it was just like I just can't get over that this was something that he's dancing to music that he can't have recorded, so he has to learn it by listening to it being performed live and then learning and then figuring out a dance and then doing it. Just insane. And interesting tidbit is that sometimes because there's like hundreds and hundreds of different like names of moves that people do in tap, like I don't know, the shiggy bop or the sliding tap or something. Sometimes they put sand on the stage to make the noise. Later on, an incredibly talented couple called the Nicholas Brothers started performing.
Do you know Michael Jackson, when it seems like he floats across the floor? It's like that, but with vigorously hitting your feet on the floor, yet still somehow seeming like they're just gliding almost.
Oh. But all of it's in perfect time to the music, like insane. And then this is in the 1930s. Anyway, the Nicholas Brothers, regarded as many as this, just like the highest quality of dance performed in film ever, apparently by some. Just to finish it all off, the concept of tap dancing. Basically, you can have it with no music, and that's called a cappella tap. You can have people who are called hoofers, who basically dance mainly with just their feet, and they don't move the rest of their body. But the rest of other tap dancing is a lot of like move. It rose back to mainstream fame with what animated film? Happy Feet.
Happy Feet. I was thinking like really old. I was thinking that was the oldest.
The non-Christmas film, but it's about penguins in the snow, so it's on every single year on ITV and ITV2. Just like they just hammer that film. Great film, though. And
I've just realised that I turned the page wrong, and I found where the shoes at first were wooden, then leather, and then metal. That was it. And if you have a large orchestra where you wouldn't be able to hear the feet, you'd have castanets so that you can hear what it would sound like, which I don't understand. Like clackada clackada clack.
Like translating, but with
yeah.
I feel like it's all doing sign language, or it's just trying to tap out of time with what they're doing, but listening and then doing it. That would be
so what's a castanet? Just to
like the things you hold and they go.
Yeah.
Like yes, they just
like a tambourine, but
yeah,
just without the. Yeah.
What? Like a tambourine?
That's too funny.
It's a handheld. It's not like a tambourine.
Like it's closer to coconut halves. Okay, it's like having coconut halves in one hand.
Like a tiny coconut.
And the final fact that I'll tell you that I thought was quite interesting is that if you have the plates attached to your shoe with no glue but only screws, the screws can be adjusted by being tightened and loosened to change the sound that you would produce with your feeties. Pretty impressive. Really madness. It's literally like beatboxing with your feet, but even
they
just
have like
insane.
Like
oh my god! I actually didn't even check. That's you never know.
Yeah, could you imagine? That would be amazing.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Riverdance, Life of New York, 1996, Trading Taps. It's like a tap off.
I imagine the energy on that will be insane.
Yeah. Anyway, I advise anyone to check out the Nicholas Brothers on YouTube.
Amazing.
One thing I looked up was about earning money, because for you saying about like how people do the like film stuff, and I saw there's a website about like, for dancers, how do you earn money when you're out of season? Because obviously you'd have like dance shows, assuming similar to acting, you go to shows like that, and the first one was like, effectively blog about dancing, find something where you can write articles, then choreograph stuff for other people, you can teach, and then it went to selling merch, so doing like dancing attire, so either make your own or sell somebody else's, and then maybe monetize your social accounts. So you're getting money from that. All this is assuming that you're somehow very much deeply involved in it, which I think it's hard to start off with. And then the last one was effectively just saying get another job. It was about freelance, so maybe so like maybe you'll be like in your downtime, maybe you could take photography or dancing, stuff like that, or like maybe you could do something else. And it's like, well, that's not like the most heartening thing for somebody to know, but like like Rishi Sunak, just maybe I know if you're in the arts, maybe just get another job.
Follow your dreams.
Brutal.
But you know what? And ballet. That was.
Yes, ballet. So I don't think I did it the justice that Freddie did. Also, if anyone's watched John Wick, the third John Wick is also just. I mean, the whole series is just pretty incredible, to be honest. And the third one includes a little bit of ballet, of where it's a Russian mafia, and where the men who are orphans are raised to be assassins, and the women are raised to be ballerinas. But the ballerinas all have mad tattoos. It's not really related to anything at all. It's just about a film. So, starting in the 15th century, in the Italian Renaissance, it developed into a concert dance form in France and Russia. It's an art form. I like this thing for like someone explaining what ballet is. If you think of what kind of art, like dance it is, and it's an art form. It's theatrical. It can tell a story or express thought, concept, or emotion. I think that's where it can be different from other forms of dance. You get interpretive dance and stuff like that, but a bit almost like an opera. You know, you're going to listen to music, but at the same time, it's fully telling a story. It's not just like going to somebody singing. It's going to somebody singing and it's telling a story. With ballet, it's the same thing. You're going to see somebody dance, but you're also going to see a story. It's not always the case. Sometimes it can be like, you know, dancing beautifully to music effectively. So it is that just pure performance of seeing somebody do their thing. But I like that it's got that kind of duality to it.
Thing that I don't understand when you're there and you're like, this was probably good, but I don't get the true meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Like,
like watching a film in a language you don't speak, right? You're like, something's going on here, but I don't know what it is.
And it's characterised by light, graceful movements and the use of point shoes with reinforced toes. And right, the point shoes are just mad because I remember seeing a video, and this is again like with tap shoes to ballet. You do need the point shoes because you can see how they balance on the toes is mad anyway. But I think to have the kind of keeping it up and doing some of the moves, you just need the reinforced. But seeing how professional ballerinas use the shoes, they'll get and they break them in, so they'll be like cracking and bending them, they'll be like scratching them, so they get like they know exactly how to do it. And for the point shoes, so it varies for different people. Someone's saying they average about 2 shoes per week if they're doing a lot. Somebody stated they got 12 to 15 hours of wear out of them. So if you're dancing every day, it's 12 to 15 hours full stop of wear, then you'll probably need new ones before they start losing it. So for a professional, for a season, which is September to May, it's 100 to 120 pairs of shoes they go through. And to bear in mind, can you guess how much the shoes are? They're £50 each.
Wow.
So that's why really when you're with ballet companies, they're giving you shoes because for a season that's like $5,000 on shoes alone, and that's most of that will be spent on practicing. Even on the show, you'll be going through weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's like, how mad's that though? Just the.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say it's like
can't you
Formula
practice
One
like
tires,
fake
but
shoes?
it's not really. It's kind of
But because I remember seeing this ballerina, how she actually like broke her shoes in and saying like, you do this every time you get a new pair of shoes, and you're doing this like more than once a week, which I think is mad. That every time you've got to break your shoes in, only to then throw them away not that long after. And it takes roughly 8 to 10 years to become a professional. So like, usually they want you to start between the ages of 7 and 10, and then by the age you're 15, so this is to become a professional ballerina, you should be having 10. So you start off with like 1 to 2
7 to
sessions
10
a week.
Sounds old to start. Like most things like that, like you start when you sort of
I guess I think when you
like,
properly start professionally performing, I guess.
suppose, yeah.
But by 15, so if you start at 7 to 10, by 15 they should be having 10 to 15 classes a week. Like that's 2 a
I
day.
can have 15 classes a week. Yeah, well, that's
I'm assuming that's
15 is
what
more than 2 a day.
That's 3 one end and 2 all the other days. Jesus.
I was thinking that's when you do like proper ballet schools, not a case of you do whatever and then you do ballet on the side. Maybe I'll do. Realistically, they were saying it, and I completely agree. It's comparable to the Olympics. The kind of physical regimes you have to go into, the kind of competition you have to be in as well. The pay, because I thought, well, what's it like to be a ballet? Because we were looking at the pay for dancers and stuff like that, and I think so. Members of the Corps de Ballet at the Royal Ballet earn $22,000 a year in their second year, and an extra $1,000 per year after that. Soloists earn $32,500. And with the first soloist getting 39,000, so that's obviously in the Royal Ballet, and that one part of it. And I had another source stating the lowest to highest wage you could expect from ballerinas. This was in dollars, so converted to pounds. And minimum is about 10 grand a year, going up to 182,000 a year. So I'm assuming that's when you get to either high up super performances or you're actually head of like the school of ballet.
It sounds like
so
the effort and work to money ratio doesn't sound great. I'm not gonna lie.
Like,
I don't think you're doing it for the money somehow. I think it's
that's it.
That's pretty.
It's very much about the art form, isn't it? But it's
got to be teaching, right? Yeah, I guess some money.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, I always wanted to do ballet, to be honest, but obviously I just wasn't cut out for it.
I'm just thinking.
My brother did.
I'm just thinking. At some point in like the history of this dance, someone started dancing on their tippy toes, and they ensured the unbelievable torment of thousands of people in the the
poor little kids bent into the.
Do
you think you guys must have seen the photos of those feet?
Oh god.
Oh yeah, but it'd be one of the things as well. It'd be like, you know, it'd be really pretty. Like, oh, if you go on your tiptoes, oh, that looks really nice, doesn't it? Now stay that way. Now stop tapping your feet. And it's like, it's not them doing it. At the end of Chicken Run in the credits, Flip Flop Fly, that song, remember dancing along to that in primary school and going absolutely nuts, just absolutely loving it, living in the moment. And I feel like, same with singing as well, not having those moments of just being alone and just letting loose and not really caring about, you know, the whole thing of dancing like no one's in the room. Definitely that. I think some people, they never learn to dance like there's no one there, even when there isn't anyone there. Yeah.
That's a beautiful message. I think that's a really nice message to end the episode on, actually. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, for listening to this week's episode of No Idea Yet. Thank you very much for listening. If you've got any suggestions for us, you can email us at noideayetpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram if you want to see the occasional post there. That is No Idea Yet Podcast. Thank you very much and have a good week.